we need to give you our undivided attention.
Yes. Attention. Good morning. I'm John Lawson, president of the Chicago Park 4-H Hornets. We are here this wonderful morning to rededicate the Chicago Park History sign, a sign that has long held the proud past of our community upon its shoulders, a past full of hardships and success, of failure and newfound purpose. Chicago Park began when the first colony, formed in Chicago, arrived in 1887. The land was divided into 20 and 40 acre plots, and 80 acres of land next to the narrow gauge railroad was set aside for the town lot and the town site. 100 town lots were sold. However, nobody ever showed up. On September 6th of that year, the name Chicago Park was selected to honor the Chicago capitalist. On September 19th, 1887, a drawing for land took place in the city of Chicago, and in October, the first families of new settlers began arriving. In November, the railroad station called Storm Station was changed to Chicago Park Station. As early as 1888, the post office had been established at the railroad station. Later, probably in 1916, the post office was moved to the Chicago Park store, where it now stands, and no longer the store. The first postmaster was Joseph H. Harbuck, so when the first settlers arrived, they already had a school and a post office. There was a resolution to erect a church building on July 31st, 1904, and the dedication of St. Paul Lutheran Church took place on December 4th, 1904, with Reverend Cruiser officiating. Now, the winter of November 26, 1887 had a severe cold wave hit in the area, and the thermometer dropped to below 21 degrees. And you can imagine what a big surprise this was to the new settlers, who came expecting a year-round, nice, even temperature. Mr. Charles Stanford, a photographer, was the first colonist to start working on this land. A barn, built in February of 1888, was the first building in the colony, located near where St. Paul Lutheran Church would later be built. It's just up on the hill right over there. The sawmill, already there, was busy turning out lumber for homes. Prize fruit at the Grass Valley Fair was already being grown by other people in the area, so by March 1889, 25,000 trees had grown and fences were on. So, to make sure that all the land lines and property lines were all set out and set in stone. However, not one building had gone up in the town site. The winter of 1889 was one of extremely severe and cold weather, and the colonists were unprepared for the snow. News of the weather and the hardships it caused traveled east, and many of the original colony members were discouraged and never arrived in Chicago Park. One of the early settlers from Chicago was Dr. Charles A. Pushup, a doctor and drug manufacturer. Arriving in 1888, he secured 360 acres. In 1894, he built a health resort that later became a hotel. There was a school, Bear River School, built in 1868, already there when our new settlers arrived. It burned in 1890, but the teacher didn't let that stop her. Monday morning, the school was held at the sawmill morning house. In 1898, a school was built in Orchard Springs Road in Chicago Park. The material had been set aside to build a new town hall. The material that had been set aside to build a new town hall had been donated to the school. And when they built the school, they looked at the material and it was already used. So a lot of people speculated that they had built the town hall and torn it down since the town site never fully developed. And the attendance, in 1947, the attendance at the new school reached 26, and a second teacher was hired to teach the primary grades. Before 1912, the school had included the 9th grade. For high school, the children went to Grass Valley. The present-day Chicago Park School, which is just over the hill over there, was built on Mount Olive Road, and in 1964, a school bond was approved by 70% of the district's registered voters. The architect was told to design a new building around a tower for the old school bell. The students, former students, and adults in the community loved this old bell, and it came in 1930 from the old Banner Mountain School. The new school opened on May 2nd, 1966, and the old school building became a private home, where it still stands today. And so, Chicago Park has soldiered on till today, still bearing with it a lively countenance and is a home to our happy community. Now about this sign. A year or so ago, a few of you may remember, old sign was falling into disrepair. The wood was rotting and the paint was peeling, and it wasn't going to last much longer. So we at the Chicago Park 4-H Hornets took it upon ourselves to replace this sign. And with the hope that it will someday be able to, we decided to replace this sign with the hope that it will be able to withstand the harsh elements of this world and be able to hold our proud history for a long time yet to come. And who knows, maybe someday they'll have to replace this sign because there's more to add than what's here. The history that has been made between now and then. Thank you very much.
Good job.